Hello, welcome everybody to this licensing committee today, Tuesday the 4th of July. My name is Councillor Louise Mead and I'll be chairing the meeting today. So I'm just going to read out the webcasting introduction. So this meeting is to be webcast. Participants are reminded of the need to activate their microphones before speaking. That's the switch on your desk, there's a switch there next to the microphone. So I would like to remind everyone present that this meeting will be broadcast live to the internet or filmed and will be capable of repeated viewing or another use by such third parties. If you are seated in the lower public seating area, it is likely that the recording cameras will capture your image and this will result in the possibility that your image will become part of the broadcast. This may infringe your human and data protection rights, and if you wish to avoid this, you should move to the upper public gallery. So do we have any apologies for absence?
Not today, Chairman, thank you.
Okay, so I just want to introduce everybody. So as I said, my name is Councillor Louise Mead and I'll be chairing. On my right here is Councillor Morgan and Councillor Allgood, who are on the committee today. And on my left is Mr Woodall from Democratic Services, far left. And this is Natalie Botang from our legal department. And we also have from our legal department Diane Murphy and Lynn Ridley as well. From our licensing department over there we have Mr David King and Hannah Gould. And we also have the police representatives are Roland McManus and our Essex Police Licensing Officer, who is Kelsey, and I'm sorry, I don't know your surname, Kelsey. Kelsey Dott. Okay, lovely, thank you. And we have our applicant here, and this is Mr James Webster. So that's everybody I've introduced. So are there any declarations of interest to declare at this meeting at all? No declarations? Okay, so I'm minded to read out the procedure for the conduct of business, which is pages 3 to 10. And we're here for a temporary event notice, the Pink Zebra, 6 to 7 Foxes Parade, Silverstone Road, Waltham Abbey, EN9 1PH. So I'm now going to hand over to the licensing department, please.
Good morning, thank you, Chair. So for the Pink Zebra, the application was for a temporary event notice given by James Webster, and as the address 6-7 Foxes Parade, Waltham Abbey, EN9 1PH. The notice is in respect of a ticketed birthday party which is proposed to take place on the 7th to the 8th of July 2023 between 2000 and 03:45 for a maximum of 200 people. The licensable activities applied for are as follows: the sale by retail of alcohol, the provision of regulated entertainment and the provision of late night refreshment. The temporary event notice was received on the 20th of June 2023. Where the licensing authority receives an objection notice from the police or environmental health that is not withdrawn, it must hold a hearing to consider the objection notice unless all parties agree that this is unnecessary. When considering a temporary event notice, the licensing authority must have regard to the steps that are appropriate to promote the licensing objectives. These are the prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, the prevention of public nuisance and the protection of children from harm. It must also have regard to its statement of licensing policy and any guidance issued by the Secretary of State. The responsible authorities, Essex Police, Environmental Enforcement, Community Resilience Team and the Environmental Health Team were consulted. The authority received an objection notice from Essex Police. In determining the temporary event notice, the subcommittee may take any of the following steps as it considers necessary for the promotion of the licensing objectives, namely to allow the licensable activities to go ahead as stated on the temporary event notice, or to impose one or more of the existing licence conditions on the temporary event notice insofar as such conditions are not inconsistent with the event, or reject the temporary event notice and issue a counter notice. The subcommittee is asked to determine the temporary event notice having regard to the content of this report and objection notice, any additional information obtained from the hearing, the Council statement of licensing policy, guidance issued by the Secretary of State, and the steps appropriate to promote the licensing objectives. That's all.
Thank you. Now, could I go over to you, Mr. Webster? Would you like to present your application, please? If you just press the button on the microphone. Thanks.
Read this, yeah?
However you want to present it, yes, that's fine.
Yeah, well, good morning, everybody. I would be able to demonstrate that I can have this late licence and get rid of the guests. The majority of the guests are mature guests. I've spoke to the person whose birthday it is, and for the reason that I want the late licence, and we can work together and get everyone away from the club. I spoke to the local cab office, and they said they would get me taxis to get people away from the club when it finishes. I can on the screens I can put the taxi number up so people can pre-book their taxis. I've got extra staff to get rid of, disperse the people at the end of the evening, and I feel like I can do this without there being any trouble, no need for the police or anyone to turn up. I think I need to be given a chance to prove that I can demonstrate to you that I can do this and get people away from the club without disorder and nuisance. Basically, that's really... I'd like to be given a chance to do it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Cheers.
I'm just now going to hand over to our councillors to see if they have any questions. Councillor, all good?
Okay, I have several. It's a birthday party. How old is the person that's birthday? 37. Okay, that's usual anniversary then. Why do you need to go to 3:45 p.m. a.m. rather?
Well, I'm not going to go to 3:45. I'm only going to go to 3 o'clock.
Okay, so
I'm not going to 3:45.
Why do you need the extension?
Because my business is just dying. Because the Vince's across the road, I've got a late licence. Now I don't take anyone. My club's empty at 1 o'clock in the morning, completely empty. I've got pictures of it, videos of empty club. It used to be fine, but since Vince's is open, they've been given a late licence. They see my club's empty, they go to Vince's, and that's it. So I've got doorman, I've got staff, I've got DJ. It's costing me like so much money to open, I can't even get any customers in. I need to do some of these events to get some revenue in before I just totally... there's just no money coming in no more. But that was a restaurant next door. I don't know how they got a late licence. It's just affected my business.
Okay, so just to confirm, you're intended to close at 3 p.m? 3 a.m?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Couple of questions. Have you had a temporary event notice before?
Never.
Never, right. And have you, what time is your licence to at the moment? 2 o'clock?
Yeah.
You said the one opposite or near to you has got a late licence. Is theirs the same, 2 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never used to be, it's only just recently been.
Yeah, so you're all the same, 2 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have any other questions for you, thank you.
So thank you. So I don't have any questions. So I'm now going to hand over to the police to say there.
No, it's all right, you can leave them on.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, sort of just as stated in my objection letter, our main concerns are obviously with the temporary event notice, conditions that are attached to the premises licence don't have to be adhered to. You can't attach conditions unless obviously we come before a subcommittee. So that was one of the reasons for the objection. Also, Essex Police do feel that 3:45 is too late for the immediate vicinity. We have had issues before regarding disturbances outside and people congregating quite a bit past the closing time. So obviously 3:45, by the time everyone's got out, hanging about, we're looking at quite late into early morning. Also, there is quite a lot of residents that are above the premises and opposite. So obviously, we're looking that it may cause noise nuisance for those. But our real main concern is regarding the crime and disorder. As stated, there has been a few incidences of crime and disorder at that late time of 2 o'clock already. So we feel going any later could make that a little bit worse.
Madam Chair, can I also add that you heard from the applicant that there's a premises opposite that's got a late licence. It's exactly the same time, 2 a.m, and it came before this panel previously. We're just concerned at 3:45 a.m. It's out of kilter for what Waltham Abbey can handle. Public transport is non-existent at that time of the morning. We've heard about cab companies, but with 200 people coming, I don't know how many cabs you would need to get people safely away to reduce public nuisance and obviously just the malingering 3:45. That's when you would stop, so it could be 4:15, 4:30 and beyond, and that's our concerns. And as you've heard from my colleague, we can't enter into negotiations because that's not this process, and that's why we come here for clarification and to see whether or not 3:45 is appropriate. Essex Police don't believe it is. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm now just going to hand over to our councillors again to see if they have any questions for you, for the police. Do you have any questions, Councillor Allgood?
Yes. If the other venue shuts at 2 and this one shuts later, are we not effectively staggering the people that are leaving? So at the moment, 2 o'clock, both clubs are going to empty at the same time. To me, that seems more of a reason to have disturbance than staggering it later on. I mean, is there any proof or?
I would agree with you, Councillor, but the fact is that they're two different business dynamics. The premises opposite is food-based with alcohol. This is not food-based, just alcohol. And of course, we wouldn't want to cause one business a lesser time than another if it's not evidence-based. So if we were to say we'd like this premises to be closed at 1 and that one to be 2, well, we'd need that to be evidence-based in order to bring that before the subcommittee. So at the moment, the 2 premises opening and finishing at 2 a.m, we found that there hasn't been any adverse crime and disorder aspects to that point.
Okay, so it still comes to one of your reasons was like it's going to put extra effort on the police and the ambulance, but I'm struggling slightly. If we're staggering it, are we saying everybody from the other club is going to suddenly move into the new venue?
No, this is a one-off birthday event, and the whole concern for Essex Police is that it's one event, finishing at 3:45 a.m. and the fact that the impact that's going to have on the local community with people leaving, our customers going to be able to get away and leave the area, and that's the crux of it really, and obviously the conditions or the lack of conditions that can be added to this at consultation period.
Okay, still confused as numbers then. At one point I've got 200 is the capacity and then it's going up to 500. I don't know who's where we're getting that from?
Sorry, just to butt in. With a temporary event notice, it's for 499 people. So even though appreciate the applicant has said it will be for 200 people, they could still have more. The temporary event notice only limits 499 people. So it's kind of almost like a gentleman's agreement. Do you know what I mean? It's their word that it will be sort of only 200 people.
Sorry, you can tell I'm new on this. So, also, I'm confused at the 3 a.m. closure, because you're now saying it's going into 4 o'clock, you're saying it's 3, I've got 3:45. Can somebody explain the timings that people are planning to flash the lights, close the music off, shut the thing and kick the people out, please?
So the temporary event notice come through as a closing time of 3:45. With a temporary event notice, you can't really negotiate on time, hence why we feel that it was 3:45 is too late and brought it back here. It would essentially have to be, if I'm right, correct me if I'm wrong, Ronan, but the applicant would essentially have to go back to the council and redo a temporary event notice with a 3 o'clock licence.
And the temporary event notice is for the sale of alcohol, and at 3:44 a.m. you could sell alcohol, at 3:46 you cannot. And can I add that consumption is not a licensable activity, so you could line up 10 pints and sit there until whatever. So that's, I'm not saying that would happen, I'm not suggesting that at all, but I'm saying for the purposes of a temporary event notice as a permissive piece of legislation, this is happening. There's no other negotiation with it.
Councillor Morgan? No questions. Okay, so thank you very much. So, Mr. Webster, do you have any questions or comments for the police that you would like to put forward?
Yes. The club that was a restaurant is now a club. And they've got events. If you have a look on Instagram, events every week. So they are a club the same as me, not a restaurant.
I can't really comment. That's not the focus of this hearing. But I accept that the applicant came from Vince's, and before this subcommittee said they were a food-based premises, and I can only report back what they said in these chambers.
Okay. So, Mr. Webster, do you have any other comments or questions for the police? Anything you want to say?
Yes. 3 o'clock is the time I want it to. I tried to change it from 3:45 to 3, but I didn't get enough time to do it. So I said, but the event was all sort of booked, so I thought, I might as well just my mistake. But I did. I give myself enough time, but then I suppose I didn't. I was a day late. Once I'd have put another appeal in, another filled the form out again, it wouldn't have made the difference. Right. I don't think I'd have got it in time. So, but since then I went back to the people and I said, look, we've got to do it at 3 o'clock. We've got to have everyone out by like 3:15. So I'll work together with everyone in the club. We're working as a family thing. It's not like people we don't know are just going to turn up. If I ever go for a TENS licence, I'm not just going to take a chance. I'm going to make sure that I can achieve the disorder, the nuisance. I'm not going to take a chance on a late licence and muck it up.
Okay.
All right, that's what I can say.
So, do you have anything else to say to sum up today, Mr. Webster, before we go into private session to discuss this?
I sort of really do need it because it has affected my business so much. I got low morale with the staff. They're just standing there on their phones, no one to serve. I've got doormen standing there watching the trouble in Vince's. So they watch the trouble over there where they don't have doormen. So I just have a lot of money to spend. I just don't think I get a chance. But, yeah.
Thank you. Please, do you have any other comments to make or anything else? No. Okay. And councillors, anything else to say or any other questions?
No, fine.
So what we do now is we retire into private session, and you'll be supported to wait outside, and then we'll call you back in when we've made a decision.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So the Licensing Subcommittee for the 4th of July 2023, this is the decision relating to a temporary event notice under the Licensing Act 2003, the Pink Zebra, 6 Foxes Parade, Sewardstone Road, Waltham Abbey, Essex, EN9 1PH. So the subcommittee has considered the application for a temporary event notice to be granted for the period sought in the application for the Pink Zebra, 6 Foxes Parade, Waltham Abbey, Essex, EN9 1PH, the premises. We have taken into account the 4 licensing objectives, the relevant written and oral representations, the Council's licensing policy, the Secretary of State's guidance and the conditions attached to the existing premises licence mentioned on pages 26 to 30 of the agenda, in particular those relating to the prevention of public nuisance. Our decision is that the application for a temporary event notice for the Pink Zebra, 6 Foxes Parade, Sewardstone Road, Waltham Abbey, Essex, EN9 1PH be granted, and in order to minimise the potential for public nuisance, we have also determined to attach all of the conditions as per the existing premises licence mentioned on pages 26 to 30 of the agenda. A counter notice is not required to be served in this instance, as by attaching the conditions of the existing premises licence, it is considered that the licensing objectives would not be undermined. During our deliberations in private session, our advisory officers gave us no further advice. Appeal. The applicants and the objectors are reminded of their right of appeal to the Magistrates' Court within 21 days of date of the written notification of this decision. Please note that no appeal may be brought later than 5 working days before the day upon which the event period specified in the temporary event notice begins. So I'd like to thank everyone for coming, and I declare the meeting closed. Thank you.